Lesson 7.3, Video 3. Again, we're factoring, so we are going to create a set of two parentheses that are binomials. Our first times first gives us x squared, so that will be x times x. And now we look at our last term to help us get our next two pieces. So we are looking for two numbers that have a product of negative 35 and a sum of 12. That's our middle term again. They have to add up to that number. Now we have a negative number, so one of the numbers will have to be negative. So we have negative 35 times 1, which does not add up to 12. I could go 35 and negative 1. Again, that does not give you 12. We can go with 7, negative 7 and 5. And that does not add up to 12. I could go to 7 and negative 5, and that does not add up to 12. And if we look at that, those are all the factors of 35. None of those, even though all of them are a product of negative 35, or when multiplied together you get negative 35, none of them add up to, when combined, 12. So this one, we would say can't factor. Alright, next one. And that does happen many times actually. But we do have to be very careful because we don't want to say we can't do it when it's actually possible. So we have to be very careful in our work. Alright, so our first terms must multiply and give you x squared, so that's x and x. We look at our last term, that'll help us get the last two terms. So we're looking for two numbers that have a product of negative 63 and a sum of 2. Hopefully this one will give us something. So again, we have negative 63 times 1, or 63 times negative 1. And I'm laying out everything, but as you go you'll know that some aren't going to be possible at the very beginning, so you don't even have to try them, but I'm being very thorough here. So let's try negative 9 times 7. That gives you a negative 2 when you put them together, but we want a positive 2. So what if I took this and went 9 times negative 7? That does multiply to give you negative 63 and give you a sum of 2. So that means I'm going to have to say plus 9 and a negative 7. And this then is the factored form of that quadratic trinomial. And our last one, we're looking for, again, two binomials, and we're going to fill in our spaces. When we have a equal to 1, the first terms are pretty easy. You just get x times x, and that's all there is to it. Our last term is going to help us decide what goes in the last pieces, so we're looking for two numbers that have a product of 8 and a sum of negative 3. So we have 8 times 1, we have 1 times 8, we have 4 times 2, and we have 2 times 4, and those are all the factors. None of them, even though all of them multiply out to 8, none of them give you a negative 3. So again, you can't factor. And this ends Lesson 7.3, Video 3.